So as you guys can see here, we've got some slight problems with this 83 Rehab pickup. So the motor is obviously moving quite a lot, and that is due to the front and rear motor mounts both being broken. So the rear motor mount broke, and what I can suspect is that the front one got broken when the rear bushing went out. I already looked underneath it, and that's what I saw, and obviously that's what's causing the rocking and slamming when you shift in this truck when you drive it. So today in this video, we're going to be addressing that. And also, this car has two torn axle boots, which I will show you guys. The left side is quite bad, and the right side is also not so great. So we're gonna go ahead and replace both of those boots as well. Now, as far as the truck itself that we're working on, clearly in it, it has an AHU 1.9 liter TDI swap that was put into it many years ago by my dad. This is actually his truck, and we need it for some yard work and make it a little bit more roadworthy. And so a couple years of neglect of just sitting, we're gonna try to fix those effects here today. So like I said, it has the AHU swap in it. Truck itself is primer colored, but as far as the rot goes, obviously with these trucks, they do have rot problems. This one is not that bad. So it's got some rot on the normal places on the strut towers and such, but it is not hateful. The body of it, while the paint is not nice, the body of it is relatively straight. The bed, while there is a bunch of junk in it, that is in decent shape as well. And one cool thing, you do get on the 83 truck, you get these tie hooks for ratcheting things down. And if you've used a Rabbit before without the tie hooks, you know that they're not that fun. Now also inside here, also kind of a mess, but blue seats, full blue interior, and nothing too terribly special in here. It's, like I said, it's pretty dirty from sitting, but we're gonna clean that up and get this truck back to working and back to good condition, so it will work well for a yard truck and also can still be driven if we need it for something. All right, so as you guys can see here, there is a ton of axle grease on this left wheel. Went ahead and jacked the truck up and got the wheel off, and look in here. We have got a bit of a mess, so this axle boot definitely has seen much better days. So that's as far as this side, and then as far as it goes for this side, not near as bad, but there is a tear in this boot. So since we're already going to be doing the one side, we may as well do the other side also. So we're going to go ahead and yank those axles out, and then we're going to take them apart and put the new boots on, put them back together, and throw them back in the truck. So pulling the axle bolts out here, little wobble extension on the impact. It's super easy to get to these. Go ahead. It's out. Hopefully none of them strip. Sometimes they like to, but having good luck so far. There we go. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and pull the axle out, if I can do this with one hand. Just like that. There we go. And there's our culprit right there. All right, so I went ahead and pulled off the passenger side axle off camera. Didn't take me very long. Didn't even have to pull the ball joint out on that one. Was able to just slide it right up. So that worked out well. So I got them over here on the bench. Oh, and as you can see, this one's ripped. This one is actually worse, but this one probably looked like this, the way this wheel was looking with all the grease when this one ripped, but it's been a while. So this one's really ripped, and this one is ripped also. So over here, I have, here's one kit. So here, and then there is the other kit. All right, so I have our first axle here in the vise on the bench. So the first order of business is gonna be, we're gonna cut these clamps off. So these are single-use clamps. So the new kit comes with replacement clamps, so we will not be needing these anymore. So cut them off. They're kind of stupid, if I'm being honest. They usually don't want to cooperate that well going off or going on, but get up there. All right, so now clamps are off. Now next thing, got to pull this boot back, and it's pretty disintegrated, but put back, and then that's going to expose the actual part that we need to remove in order to do this job. And since we are not going to be using this boot anymore, obviously you can go ahead and cut it off. It just gives a generally better visibility for doing this, and then you don't have to fight with pushing it since we don't exactly need it. So just remove it like that. All right, this is the part where you have to be a little bit aggressive, but we're gonna have to take this and hit this end off of here so we can get the new boot on. So right like that. There we go. Old one is off. Now at this point, we're gonna have to pull this ring off, and also the other part, which does not look like it's on here, and then there is a ring inside of this groove that we're going to want to pull out, and there's a new one in the kit that we will replace that ring with. So we got our new kit here with all the pieces inside it. So first piece we're going to need is the actual boot itself. So we got that right here. And basically we're going to want to do, slide this on over, push it down. It'll be a little tricky, but get it on there. There we go. And just slide that down out of the way. Won't need that for now. Next we got to put these on. Now you got to note the way that these go on. This one faces upwards, if you can see, and this one goes on like that. So slide that on right like this, down to there, and then that one goes right on top. Now, next up, we got to put this clip on right around here, but we got to pry the old one out first. Got two pick tools here. Push that off. Fell on the ground, of course, but there we go. There's the old one. And here is the replacement. So we're gonna just push this on here, right like that. And there we go. Now it's on there. All right, so I went ahead and cleaned this out with some brake clean, so now it's all nice and clean. And going to be putting new grease in, so it doesn't matter. The old grease is out. So now we're gonna slide this over into the splines, like that, and then got a hammer here, just like that. There we go. New joint is in. So this is the packet of grease that comes with the kit. So we're going to take this and put this inside the boot. Just gonna put it all inside there, inside of the joint, as much as you can. Put all this packet inside of there. Get the hands off here, and then I'm gonna push the rest of this grease coming out back in there. Now we go ahead and push the actual boot over top of the outer joint. Be a little bit of a trick, but get it on there. There we go, just like that. One step in this rebuild of this axle is to put these clamps on. So this is the one on the outside. Just slide that over top there. And then this is the one for the inside. So slide that over top here, and then push it over to clip it on. So then what you do is take, right here we got a snips. There's a more correct tool, and I actually do have it, but it is not here, so we're gonna have to make the snips work. But what we're gonna do is go on this lip here on the clamp, push it together, and get it to clamp down. It kind of pulls itself together. Just like that. All right, so after a great deal of fighting, finally got both these clamps on. This one fought a lot, but we're able to get it all on. It's all good. New boot is installed, and that's pretty much it for the boot install. And this is going to apply to any Mark 1, Mark 2, or Mark 3 boot replacement. So they're all pretty much the same. So that's as far as it's going to be for this replacement. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side off camera, and because it's literally the exact same process as this one, so no need to show you guys it twice, but that is how you do that. And that's going to get this axle fixed up. Now oftentimes you can just replace the whole axle, but it is cheaper to just repair it, and then you repaired it yourself rather than just buying a new one. Here's another look at the difference between these two. So obviously quite bad to now brand new and nice and all repaired. Now this axle is good. Now, sometimes, and oftentimes I do occasionally, just replace the whole axle rather than just repairing it, which, you know, sometimes for me, because we have a big VW parts business and we have a lot of axles, so sometimes it's easier to just grab an axle, but, you know, the more sustainable way to just repair them, and also kind of cool, then you just fixed it yourself rather than replacing the whole thing. And in the end of the day, it is cheaper also. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and, once I get both these taken care of, we're going to go ahead and install these back into the truck, and then we should be good to go on the axle repair, and then we're going to have to do the front and back motor mounts, and then after that, should be good to go. Little update, all done, both sides now. This side did not go quite as smooth as the other side, mainly in these clamps. They are a bit of a trick, but able to get it together. Now these are both together. I also wiped them out and cleaned them up a little bit, so now they're all good to go. And now at this point, we're gonna go ahead and throw them back into the truck. There we go. Passenger side axle is now reinstalled. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the driver's side. Just like that, axle number 2, driver's side axle, is in. So the axles are all back in the truck and the wheels are back on. So now we're gonna move on to the motor mount. So I already went ahead and pulled this out since you guys can't see under there anyway. So this here, that's our problem. Motor mount should not be able to talk, and this one's saying it's junk. So got that there and up here, so it's definitely not looking so great. So got that. I'm just going to use my replacement one that I got here. So this one is not like that. So we're just gonna put this on. I just pulled this whole thing off. I'm gonna put these two 13 millimeters onto this one, throw it back on. That was the way that it was easiest for me. So I'm gonna swap these over and then go ahead and throw it back into there. All right, so I'm gonna put the other one in, and here's the front mount. Again, more of these talking motor mounts. Not really into that. Don't really want to see that. So that's no good. Now, for replacement for this one, I have this here. Now, this motor mount keeps breaking on this truck. This has been a repeat problem. So, we've got this polyurethane insert, and I figured I may as well throw that on and see if maybe that'll work out better, hold up a little bit more, because this is not the first time that we have had this happen, but I suspect that these were breaking because this was actually bad and it was putting too much stress on the front. But either way, got this, so we're just going to put this in. And you can take this off, this comes off of here, and you can just put this on. But I had this on another bracket, so no sense in taking it off. I'll just put the whole bracket back in there. So I'm going to go ahead, again, because you guys can't really see, I'm just doing this stuff off camera underneath because it's so hard to see anyway that it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and toss this in, and then we'll see if we have all of our problems solved. All right, so truck is back on the ground, got the new mount in here. Not like you can see it, it's down in there somewhere. But so we got all the mounts installed, we got the new boots in and axles reinstalled, and everything is back together. So at this point, we're going to see if motor mount problem is solved. I'm going to set the tripod up and do the same thing I did at the beginning of the video where we tried to see how bad the motor moves. We'll look at it now, and then we'll take it out on the street and we'll go and see how it drives. And it's going to be a lot better to drive if the motor isn't knocking back and forth, because you couldn't really you had to shift super easy or else the motor would slam. So we're going to do that and hopefully it drives better. But I'm going to set the tripod up and we'll see if we fix it. Didn't seem like it moved at all. All right, so it looks like the motor is not moving anymore. Now, that polyurethane front mount, it seems like this thing's shaking pretty hard. So we're going to go take it for a drive and see. The polyurethane might be a little bit too intense, but we'll find out. But either way, the problem of the motor shifting back and forth is certainly fixed. So I'm going to throw a tag on it. We're going to take it out on the street and see what it does. All right, so seeming pretty good. Been driving it for about 10 minutes. No real problems that I'm noticing. The slamming is gone when you let off the gas and get back in it. It would slam super hard. And in between shifts, it's not bad either. I'll just downshift to fourth. And then back to fifth. No slam, so that's really good. So I'm thinking should probably be good. And the truck, I mean, we're cruising down the road pretty decently. No major issues, so pretty good. My one complaint is at idle, it does shake pretty bad, but once you're moving, it's not really terrible, but right at idle, it's not so great. So, covered some distance with the truck, doing quite well. The only problem is that front motor mount's got to go. The polyurethane is just a little bit too aggressive for what I'm looking for, and it's going to rattle this truck to bits. So, when we get back home, I'm going to put a standard front mount in it because, like I said, the shaking is almost unbearable when you come to a stop. So, and it's not a race car, it's a stock TDI motor in a truck. So, we're going to go ahead and pull that. But otherwise, the truck has been doing very well, and we're gonna run it back home and then put that motor mount in. Also, the axles, there's no added grease, so that has been all good. So now it's just the motor mount. Once that's done, be all good to go. That motor mount sucks. As you guys can see, I already went ahead and ripped it out. This thing is not a race car, and even after driving it even more, the thing just shook so bad. Every single time you get to a stoplight or a stop sign, the thing just vibrates, and it's going to vibrate itself to death. So it sucks. I ripped it out, and we're going to go ahead and put in this stock rubber one that is not polyurethane, and we're just going to put it on this bracket and throw it back in. Like I said, it's not a race car, and that thing shakes way too much, and it's going to shake this thing apart. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall that rubber mount and back into the truck, and then with that we'll be all good to go. So the polyurethane pushing is fully removed and the new rubber mount is installed. So now that's all taken care of and we won't be shaken to death anymore. So that's great. Either way, that's gonna be a wrap pretty much on this rehabilitation in some ways of this 83 Rabbit pickup. Now, like I said, it's going to be being used as a yard truck and just a general parts runner, very short trips. So not really going to be seeing a ton of miles or a ton of hard usage, but just wanted to get it back to a serviceable condition so that it can still be driven down the road. And obviously those axle boots and the motor mounts were a pretty big issue and were preventing it from being used properly. So now that's all taken care of, and super glad that that is done. So as far as the future, my Rabbit truck is coming back. I have put it away for storage for about 4 months at this point, but since the winter has come to an end, I'm going to be getting it back out, and there's a ton of work that I am going to be doing on that truck, and I'm very excited to do it. I'm going to be making that truck a lot better than it is now. I've got a ton of cool parts. I've got a ton of parts that are going to make the truck look better, drive better, and everything in between. So I'm super excited for that, and there's going to be a ton of content coming with that truck very soon. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on this video. I appreciate y'all for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.